This call is being recorded.
Okay, I'd like to start off with a quote. Everyone that knows me knows that I always love to start my conference calls with a quote. We come this way but once. We can either tiptoe through life and hope we get to death without being too badly bruised, or we can live a full, complete life, achieving our goals and realizing our wildest dreams. That's Bob Proctor. What a phenomenal quote. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to come on this call. I respect and value your time, and my goal is for this to be the best 30 minutes, your best half hour of your week. I spent at least 10 to 15 hours preparing for this call, and that's only because I so believe in the potential of everyone that's on this call. Anyone that takes time to invest in themselves, trust me, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to do everything that I possibly can and share all of my knowledge and wisdom and everything that I've learned with you. I want to kind of get a couple things out the way real quick. For anyone that may have missed a call, or if you have to leave early and or you want to share this call with someone else, the callback number is going to be 718-867-6700. That should be up probably sometime by tomorrow afternoon. Once again, it's 718-867-6700. You can reach me at powerinAhalfhour@gmail.com. I know I gave everyone an assignment last week to go ahead and start working on your 3-year plan, your 1 year, where you see yourself in 1 year, your 30-day plan, your 7-day plan, and your next day action. And I would really love to hear from you. Several people that were on the call last week reached out to me and kind of went over with me what their goals were, what their vision was, what their plan of action was, and it was really amazing. It was really awesome to talk to you guys that reached out to me, and I want to hear from everyone. So I really want to see how that's coming along. Tomorrow will be 7 days, so I want to see where you're at in your progress. I'm going to, if me and you are not friends already on Facebook, please go ahead and add me as a friend so I can go ahead and just be connected with you, and you can see a lot of the posts that I put, and I can see what you have going on in your life. And I'm thinking about starting a Facebook group for these calls. So go ahead and add me as a friend and message me. And if you want to be in our Facebook group, definitely go ahead and let me know that. A good friend of mine that's on the call, her name is Pearl. She has a book club. And I suggest for everyone that isn't reading right now, or you don't have a group of people that you can read and connect with, go ahead and join her book club. You can find it on Facebook. It's called A Lady Named Pearl Book Club. It's a phenomenal book club. If you can't find it, just reach out to me, and I'll make sure that I get you inside that Facebook group, or I'll connect you with Pearl, and she can get you in there. I think this month, I just joined the book club myself, but this month, the book of the month is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Really powerful book. I really suggest that you go ahead and get connected within this book club and be connected with other like-minded people that are trying to move forward in life. The last thing before we go ahead and start the call is, if you're not connected with my daily message service, Be Better Daily, go ahead and text the letter B, then better, BETTERDAILY, to 411247. Once again, Be Better Daily, 411247. Every morning we send out a good, inspiring message that is just fuel to go ahead and start your day and give you a phenomenal day. Well, today I want to talk about the 4 stages of life. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the 4 stages of life. My brother and I was discussing this. Someone had shared it with him, and we kind of had a difference in the 4 different stages, but we discussed it last week, and I said, you know what, this is phenomenal, and I want to really go ahead and share it with you because it really resonated with me. The first stage of life is survival. In that survival mode, the goal is just to make it. The thing about that survival mode, though, is that if anything happens unexpected in life, like your life just completely goes into a tailspin. That mode is what, a lot of people normally refer to as living check to check. I just saw, and it's amazing because as I was thinking about it today, and I was really kind of coming up with what I wanted to say, I think it's either yesterday or today, I saw a Facebook post by one of my friends that said, you got $500. Rent is $425. To repair your car is $350. Your probation is $475. Which do you pay? And that sounds like a post from someone that's living in that survival mode. Now, the thing about it is that most of us have either lived in this stage at some point of our life, we started on this stage, or we're still on this stage right here. I remember the days when I was in this survival mode. I didn't even have the $500. So to be honest with you, I didn't even have to make the decision as to which one I was going to do, because I didn't even have the $500 to make a decision. The thing about this stage right here, this stage is where the worst and the greatest things happen to you. On this stage, you have nothing to lose. On this level, it's easier to conquer your fears, because it's easier to conquer your fears when the pain to remain the same is much greater than the pain of taking risks and moving out of your comfort zone. Mentally, I put myself back, even though I'm not in survival mode anymore. I put myself on this stage sometimes to really propel myself, to really push myself forward. And later on, we're going to be talking about moving past your fears, getting past your fears, because I think that that's one of the biggest things that stops a lot of people in life from doing whatever it is that they want to do. And this is one of the techniques. I didn't even list this in the 7 techniques I'm going to talk about a little later, but this is one of the techniques that I use to get me past my fears. I just bring myself back to the days when I literally didn't have food to eat. I literally didn't have the rent to pay. I literally had no money coming in at all. I don't even know how I even survived through those times. It's almost it's a technique that I call burning the boats. And basically where that comes from is back in the 1500s, there was a Spanish conquistador named Hernan Cortez. When he arrived on the coast of Mexico, he only arrived there with 600 men, 16 horses, and 11 boats. And he essentially had no chance at all at winning. He arrived in Mexico to try to conquer the Aztecs. And he essentially had no chance of winning. He was outnumbered. And after he gave his men a speech on the coast of Mexico, he ordered a couple of his men to burn all their boats. And basically, they only had 2 options. Either they were going to die, or they had to ensure that they were going to win. And sometimes, in order for us to really take ourselves to the next level, we need to do that. We need to give ourselves almost no options. Now, can you imagine this? This man arrived on the coast of Mexico to conquer a country, not a city, a country, and he only had 600 men. He had, 11 boats and 16 horses, and he conquered a country. And the only reason why they did it was because they had no other option. Either they were going to die or they were going to win. And in order to get yourself to the next level, sometimes you have to tell yourself that either I'm going to die or I'm going to win. And that, right now, that's my philosophy. The second stage is stability. That's basically when you have a stable job. You presumably have job security. You're able to bail yourself out of small mishaps. You know, something happens, your car breaks down, you got a little bit of savings, and you can go ahead and get that car fixed. Something happened to your kids, you can go ahead and take them to the hospital. And the thing about this stage right here, this is the most dangerous stage that you can possibly be in, because this, to me, is that comfort level stage. In this stage, you're unhappy enough to complain, but you're not unhappy enough to do something about it. One of the stories that I heard maybe about 5 or 7 years ago when I first kind of got into personal development, I want to say I heard it on a Les Brown CD. He talked about this man, and I'm sure most of you, anyone that's been around me for any period of time has heard me tell this story many of times, and you probably heard someone else say it. But it's about this man that walks to work every single day. And he walks past an old man with a dog sitting on the porch. And every day he walks going to work and coming from work, the dog is crying on the porch. So after about 20 or 30 days, he goes up to the old man and he says, "Why is that dog crying?" And the old man says, "Because he's sitting on a nail." And then the man says to the old man, "Well, why doesn't he get off?" And then the old man says, "Because it doesn't hurt enough for him to get off." And a lot of us, that's how we live our lives. We complain about what's going on, what's going wrong, but it doesn't hurt. Life doesn't hurt bad enough for us to go ahead and do something about it. And that's what this stage is about. There's a quote from General Douglas MacArthur that says, "There's no security in life, only opportunity." So that's really and truly what I want you to remember about this stage. Because the thing about this stage is that when you're in this stage and you're stable, you have what you feel as security. You postpone your dreams till tomorrow. You get home from work, and whatever your passion is, whatever it is, your business, your small business that you're trying to do on the side, or whatever it is, it's easy for you to say, you know what, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I had a rough day at work. The kids were acting up today. Whatever the excuse may be, it's always easy to postpone it till tomorrow. And then until the fact that every day becomes tomorrow. So that's why I really feel like this stage right here is probably the most dangerous stage. The third stage of life is what's called success. Now, success means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I guarantee that if I ask all 100 of you that's on this call tonight what success means to you, each and every one of you would probably tell me something different. Now, the dictionary definition of success is the accomplishment of an aim or person or a purpose. And the second meaning that they had is a person or thing that achieves a desired aim or attains prosperity. My definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile, predetermined goal. The thing about success is that we've all attained success, but more importantly, we're all becoming more and more successful every day as long as we set and strive towards our goals. The most important thing about being successful is that you have to have goals. I went through about 10 different definitions of success, and every single one of them was attached to accomplishing a goal. So right now, if you don't have a goal, which I know everybody on this call has their goals after last week, if you don't have a goal, there's no way that you can possibly be successful. Now, all of us are going to define success differently. My level of success, I might say that in order for me to be successful, I need to make $1 billion or $1 million or whatever, and your definition of success might be different. But every definition of success, no matter whose it is always attached to a goal. Now, the fourth stage of life, and this is the highest stage, is when you're living a life of significance. And basically what that means is that you're living a life of meaning. Your life has a purpose, and I talked about this last week a little bit, and I think maybe next week or the week after I'm going to really dive into this. That's what we're all here to do, is live a life of purpose. I really don't believe that we were put on this earth just to live for 70 or 80 years, and that's just it. Now, the thing about it is that some of us have already realized what our purpose is, and some of us are still trying to uncover what our purpose is. But the biggest obstacle that prevents us from living our purpose is fear. So now I want to go into and talk a little bit about fear because, it's just really amazing that as some of the people reached out to me after the call last week, almost everyone that said that they hadn't moved forward in their goals as of yet, I can tell that the thing that stopped them more than anything else was fear. And it just really came to me that that's what I need to talk about this week is fear. If you want to go from where you are to where you want to be, you're going to have to confront your fears. Fears is natural. Most people let fear stop them from taking the necessary steps to achieve their dreams. And that's the difference between people that are unsuccessful and the people that are successful. The people that are successful don't allow fear to stop them at all from doing what they want to do. Why are we so fearful? Now, honestly, I believe that fear is something that was taught to us at probably a young age, but fear comes from millions of years ago when it was our body's way of signaling us of danger. So back in the times when there were dinosaurs and saber-toothed tigers, we had to have a level of fear to keep us safe. But now we're in an age where we don't need, there aren't those type of dangers. There are dangers out there, but there aren't those type of dangers out there. So we have to just use fear to propel us forward. It's okay to be terrified, but we have to remember that we have to allow fear to just motivate us and not to immobilize us. Some of the acronyms that are used for fear, and these are some people's definitions, but they're actually acronyms, are fantasized experiences appearing real. Another one is false evidence appearing real. Another one is failure expected and received. False expectations about reality. Frantic effort to avoid reality. Isn't that so true for so many people? Future events already ruined. My favorite acronym for fear is feeling excited and ready. Feeling excited and ready. The definition, if you actually go to the dictionary, and the definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous or likely to cause pain or threat, or an unpleasant, strong emotion caused by the anticipation of awareness or danger. Fear is essentially when we anticipate that something bad is going to happen. That's all fear is. It's all inside our heads. It's amazing. I don't know where this fear comes from, but all of it is just inside of our heads. It's all us just sitting here imagining what's the worst thing that can happen. Why can't we change that? We have the ability to change that. We don't have to think the worst. But I really believe that we've been taught to think the worst, and I don't think that it was done purposefully. You know, it goes back a million years. But I mean, we were taught, so we can change that. You know, Mark Twain once said, "I have lived a long life and had many troubles, most of which never happened." Doesn't that sound like most of our lives? We worry about so many things, so many bad things happening, and probably 80% of the things that we end up worrying about never end up happening. All successful people are willing to take a chance and a leap of faith, you know, though they were afraid. They may have even been terrified, but they knew if they didn't act, the opportunity would pass them by. And they trusted their intuition, and they simply just went for it. Now I want to quickly go over 7 ways on how you can conquer your fears. Number 1 way, journal your fears. Write about your fears and its origin. Reflect on what you've written. By observing them, you gain insight, and it loosens the fear, and fear loses its power over you. That's a phenomenal technique. Just write them down. Start writing them down and thinking about, okay, why do I fear this? Where did this come from? And as you kind of almost confront that fear as you write it down on paper, it kind of loosens its little grip over you. The second one is ask yourself what you're imagining that is really scary to you, and then replace that image with something that's positive. This is one right here that I can tell you that I've used so many times. Anyone that knows me knows that has traveled with me before knows that I used to have a serious fear of flying. You know, and what I would start to do is that when I'm in the air and I'm just like literally shaking like a leaf, I would just start to imagine what it's going to be like once I land. If I was going to the Caribbean islands, Jamaica or Dominican Republic, I would just imagine myself on the beach with a pina colada in my hand, and I would just think about how nice it's going to feel when I'm on the beach, when I'm just relaxing, when I'm, you know, just relaxing or chilling. When I would go to, when I'm on the way back to Atlanta, and we're in that air, and maybe about 30 minutes before we land and I start to get a little afraid, I would start thinking, okay, man, I'm going to be driving on 285 right back to my house, you know? And I would use that technique, and I'm going to be honest with you. I would just completely zone myself from the plane, and I would just put myself mentally wherever I was at. The third one is scale down the risk. Take smaller chances and work your way up. So if one of your goals is to own to be a chef or to be a speaker, instead of starting off and speaking in front of 1,000 people or cooking for 500 people, why don't you start off small? Start off with your family and friends. Start off speaking to 10 or 20 people. You know, to scale down the risk, and then as you do that and you're successful with that, then now you gain a lot more courage, and then now you're able to go up to now, instead of 20 people, 50 people or 100 people. Number 4 is remember your past successes. We tend to always remember what we fail at and never celebrate what we succeed at. Strengthen your belief in yourself by reflecting on every success that you've experienced. Wow. How many times have it's so easy for us to beat ourselves up by thinking about every way that we've failed or everything that we've been unsuccessful at, but we never really take the time to really think and meditate on the things that we are successful at, you know? For myself, I remember like even speaking, when I first decided that I wanted to get into speaking maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I was petrified. I probably couldn't even do this call right here. And, you know, I just had to remember. So when I did actually get up and start speaking to people, I would just have to remind myself of times when I've spoke to maybe 5 or 10 people, and people really got value from what I said, and that kind of helped ease my fears. The 5th way is just stop the story. You know, essentially, fear is an illusion. We make it up about frightening stories about our past and our futures, and we keep going over them until we're terrified. Change the stories that you tell yourself. I kind of talked about this a little earlier. You have the option to create new stories and fill them with positive expectations of the future. I know a friend of mine, I'm not even sure if this friend is on the call, but this friend actually had an opportunity to have his business in the new part of the Atlanta airport. Now, there were some certifications that the new international part of the Atlanta airport that they just built maybe about 2 years ago. Now, there were some certifications that he wasn't sure whether or not he was going to need to have in order to have his business in there. So because he didn't, he had an inside track. Now, this move right here could have completely changed his life. It could have added at least 1 or 2 more zeros to his bank account. But instead of going ahead and finding out what he needed in order to accept the bid, he just never even filed his paperwork. And he essentially had somebody that was going to push his paperwork through. And, you know, just talking to that friend, he realizes that that's probably one of the biggest mistakes of his life. And I talked to another person, another good friend of mine last week that told me a similar story like that. You know, a lot of times we end up talking ourselves out of what is rightfully ours just because we're afraid, and we don't even know all of the facts. You know, he didn't even know if he was going to need whatever certification, and even if he did need that certification, he doesn't know how difficult or not difficult it was to attain. Obviously, if someone else attained it, he could have attained it as well. And just because of that fear, he ended up talking himself out of something that could have completely changed his life. You know, it's really amazing. The 6th step is to create a support group of friends and family that encourage and celebrate your success. You know, start a group of other like-minded people that are counting the same thing, and that you guys could encourage and motivate each other along in accomplishing your fears. You know, or fighting against your fears, or accomplishing your goals. You know, that's so important. It's to be around. You don't have to do this on your own. Get around other people that have similar goals as you, and work with those people. You know, you encourage them, them encourage you. You know, stay away from the friends that are going to hate, that are going to play into that are going to say, oh, you know, you can't do it. You know, nah, that's not for you. Stay away from those people and get around some people that want to see you do good and want to encourage you. You know, and the 7th step is to live vicariously through other successful people and study the successes of those who have pressed their fears forward. You know, as I was doing research for this, I realized that a lot of successful people, they have fears too. Like Richard Branson and Steve Jobs were afraid to public speak. Can you imagine that? 2 billionaires, 2 guys that have hugely successful companies that rely completely on themselves being able to sell themselves and the company, they both were afraid to speak in front of people. But you know what? They realized that they had to get over those fears. There's tons and tons and tons of other people that have been afraid of certain facets of their business or whatever it was that they were trying to do. But they realized in order for them to go to the next level, they had to kick those fears, and you got to as well. You have to fight those fears, and you got to press forward. I'm telling you, you have to fight those fears, and you have to press forward. Now, that's pretty much what I have for tonight. If anyone has any questions, if you want, I'll go ahead and take maybe like 1 or 2 questions because we have about 5 more minutes before the call, and I want to give you some information as well at the end of the call. So press ** if you have any questions, and that will unmute you. If anyone has any questions or anything that they want to share, don't be shy now. Press **.
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay.
What's your name, first of all?
Sorry, Charlotte Clark. I'm in Pearl's book club. I missed last week's call. I didn't know about it. How can one access last week's information so that I can get started on my goals?
Okay, awesome. If you call that playback number, you can either call that playback number, but it'll be down by tomorrow. Or you can, if you are me and you friends on Facebook?
I sent you a friend request at the beginning of the call.
Okay, great. Well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add you as a friend, and I'll message you later on tonight where you can actually download last week's message.
Thank you.
Alrighty? And anybody else that's on the call that isn't my friend, my name on Facebook is Mark Starr, MarkStarr. Go ahead and add me as a friend and send me a message or whatever. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. No one else has any questions? Okay, cool. All right, so let me go ahead and finish up. I want to hear from you guys. Hello? Okay, yeah, I want to hear from you guys. Once again, either send me a message on Facebook, send me a email to powerinAhalfhour@gmail.com, and tell me about your goals. Tell me about your progress, how you're coming along with your goals. I'm going to pick one person that messages me this week, and I'm going to give them a book out of my trusted book collection. Anyone that knows me knows that I don't give away books. I don't lend them out, not anymore. I hate that. But I'm going to take a very special book that I have in my collection, and I'm going to go ahead and share it with one person that emails me and tells me how they're coming along with their goals. Once again, the playback number, it'll be up probably by noon tomorrow, 718-867-6700. Once again, it's 718-867-6700. Join Pearl's book club. You can message me and find out a little bit more information about that. Lady named Pearl's book club. Awesome book club. They're reading an awesome book this week. Matter of fact, if you send me a message, I might even give you my copy of that book and go order another one of it as well. And Be Better Daily, sign up for Be Better Daily. That's BBETTERDAILY to 411247. And I think that's pretty much it. Let me go ahead and close out with this quote. Do you want to be safe and good, or do you want to take a chance and be great? And that's from legendary University of Miami coach, Dallas Cowboys coach, Jimmy Johnson. Once again, I want to thank y'all for coming on this call, and we will see you next week.